Okay. So you're still hopping a little bit, going to trot. How's the canter been? Good. Yeah. Can I just have a look at Girth? Is it alright? Or... Hello, boy. I know I look really silly, don't I? I don't know. Yes, unfortunately I did. We don't turn out when it's like, you know, it was awful, wasn't it? And it had rained and then it snowed and honestly the land was just, water just stood. Oh yeah, what did they say? Right. Right. There's nothing. Good. Good. Okay. Yeah. Okay. It's quite good in here. I thought it'd be a lot wetter than this. Yeah. Okay. Have you worked him a little bit already? Okay. So just before you start, I don't know if you normally do this, but we didn't really do it last time because I was too busy sort of just looking at him and seeing what was going on. But do you ever like really bend him and supple him? You know, like really with lots of flexion in the neck and then get him to move away from your leg and that sort of thing? Right. So it might just help him just initially, just to like let go of his body a little bit more. So if you just stand a circle around me and just really flex his neck. I mean, you know, really flex it so he's almost coming round to your toe. And you know, there may be sort of bits within there where it gets, yeah, that's fine, where it gets a little bit stuck. So just work to start with, just don't have your leg on, just literally bend his neck with no leg at all, and just see if you can manipulate him so that there's points where he really lets go and gives. So what he should, no leg at all, take your leg off, that's it. So don't use your leg. I know it's really tempting, but just keep your leg not doing anything. That's it. I want him to get to that point. Feel the difference now in his neck. Right, so now you can start to use your leg. If he doesn't respond, use your whip. And just, you know, not to smack him obviously, but just to get him to move away so he yields off your leg. So keep the flexion in the neck so you get to that point where his neck is the softest it can possibly be, and then start to use the leg. So you need to feel that he lets go of that neck. Good. Good. So you can probably feel there he's just a little bit like, ooh, you know, I can't really come right through. So just keep doing it. And ultimately we're trying to get him to bring the passage of that right hind leg a little bit more under the middle of his stomach. Because what he's doing, he kind of bends through the neck and then he's like, I can't bring my inside hind through to the point you need it to come to. And I wonder if that's why he's giving you that little hop in. Because obviously a horse doesn't bend through the rib cage. You know, we talk about bend, but actually they flex through the neck, which is the only part of the body that really bends. And then they need to step more under with the hind leg to achieve what looks like a bend. That's better. Okay, so now hold him with the flexion in the poll, right round, and literally just do a turn on the forehand. Make sure you still sit right. Can you feel yourself wanting to sit out to the left? Just keep doing it. So you're not trying to like upset him, you're just trying to like bring your right hind under you. That's it. Because what he does, he steps under and then he steps side to side rather than actually right under himself. So think about pushing him a step forward and then over. So one step forward, now over. One step forward, that's it, now over. That's better, praise him, good boy. And just keep doing it until you feel him step right under his centre. Now he's going side to side, forward again, that's it, and over, step, forward, over, step, forward, over, step, good, good boy, praise him lots, good boy. Now walk forward and come do the same on the left. You can see he's finding it quite hard, and that's what you're coming up against, basically, when he's in motion. So, you know, because he's finding this quite difficult through the walk, it's definitely something that you should begin with, I think, you know, just to get him to come softer. And you'll probably find on this rein is much easier, but he has that natural tendency to take the hips to the right slightly, so off the left hind this should come a lot easier for him. So again, Start with just the flexion at the pole. You can feel already that he's quite happy to step over this way. Good boy. So again, sit left and just watch where his body's going, because basically you're trying to turn him. Just watch that the passage of the circle doesn't go outwards, that he's still, you know, keeping the same circle size through the front end, through his shoulders. That's it. So just manipulate the pole until you feel him literally let go of the neck, because he's still holding slightly. Bring your right hand more over the neck this way, so your right hand is more on top of the wither, like over, so that you bring the shoulders more this way. That's good. So keep turning the shoulders into the circle as you ask him to step over with the inside hand. Turn the shoulders inwards. That's better. That's better. That's better. Now become more stationary within that and push the hind leg round. So you can feel on this rein, it's interesting that he actually seems to me like he flexes better to the right in the neck and not quite as easy for him this way. So imagine on this rein that you start to turn the shoulders into the circle a little more. Okay, so it's just your outside hand, half halting, and then working the hand from right to left across the neck. That's it. That's it. So right to left across the neck, right to left. Good. Go on, keep going. So we've got to find like the suppleness within his body. That's good. Keep walking forward and being like you're okay, because we don't want him to get so upset that he stands and fights you about it. And in a minute you're going to head off into trot anyway, because you know you can do a little bit of this, and then now you know what you're doing with it, you can include it a little bit in the beginning stages of working and trot. Just do it. So that rhythm is already much better than the rhythm I saw last week. Much better rhythm. Good. And then within the trot, be prepared again to bring the pole as flexed as it was in the walk. So like as much to the left and then a little bit to the right. What we need him to do is to start stepping more clearly through with the right hind. Because for me, he steps through with the left hind and he doesn't step quite as through with the right. Good. So play around with still more flexion. Good. So begin to like really think about trying to get after every segment of his body so that he's loose, he's supple, he's able to move through every bit of his body. Good. And you can allow the neck to go a little deeper just initially, because we're not asking him so much yet for like a perfect outline in terms of a test, that we're trying to loosen and make his body really available for us. That's good. How does he feel there? Right, okay, so how much are you using your leg to keep this forward? Alright, because I quite like the rhythm. I do like the rhythm. I don't think we need to go quicker than that. Right, okay. Right, okay. But in terms of stretching, he needs to work more over the top line. So what I think you've got to be prepared to do is have different speed settings, you know, that you don't just work in one all the time. So like when you're working him in, that you feel, you know, you do go a little steadier in the rhythm, but I would like him to go a little deeper through his pulse. So still ask him to stretch even more. And I quite like the fact at this moment in time that he's quite light in your hand, because if you're not, that's it, good there. If you're not driving him really forward into the rein, then you know you shouldn't feel that he's so much in the rein, that he should feel light at the end of the rein. That's good. And now change the rein and stretch him and bend him as much as you possibly can. Good. And to hardly use your leg, you know, just literally sit there and think about your leg as just being one unit of movement from the top to the bottom of your foot, so that when you use your leg, it's the whole of your leg that goes in. Good. Flex him a little more to the right and turn your shoulders and your hips more this way. That's good. And now ask him to move on a little bit and come back a little bit in this rhythm. So more hind leg. And as soon as you press the accelerator, you want him to feel like he completely responds to it. And if he doesn't, that's when you can, like you said, give him a great big kick if he doesn't respond. So driving head on. Okay, don't mind that for now. Ask again. Driving head on. More. Yeah, don't worry. Just keep asking, because this is just his tightness. So again, like we had this a little bit last time, that it's easier to canter than it is to push. Good, and again push. That's better. And imagine, because you're still with the trot and you're still rising, when you go to drive him, try and push your hips more through and forward so that he gets a little bit of a clue from your seat that it's not canter, that you are driving this trot up and forward. Bit more again. Go. That's better. Go on, go again. Because can you feel there's still a point there where he's holding back a little bit? Yeah, okay. But again, to me, it's like the right side of him again that's getting a little bit stuck and not wanting to come through. So just chase him up a little bit and be like, come on. Come on. And go canter. And if he goes like, and just go and move. That's it, exactly. And again, try and turn your shoulders and your hips more this way. Go on, go more in the canter. Be like, okay, go then. Go on, just imagine you're almost going to go for a gallop, that you're really sending him forward. Because now, you know, you said he just feels like he's a bit stuck. He certainly now looks like he is. So go on, send him on a bit more. Come on. Keep your seat a bit light. You know, just imagine you're in the warm-up for the cross country and just really send him forward. Still turn the outside of your body more this way. That's better. So your outside hip and shoulder leads you. One more still. Make sure he's truly in front of you. Okay, and then quietly bring it all back and ask him to trot. Still turn your body a little and go as soon as you hit the trot, and go again and send him forward. So every time he tries to offer you canter as a cop-out, be like, guess what? Get forward again. Okay, and then quietly trot. And trot, go as soon as you hit the trot. That was better. It's because that time when he moved, he actually did genuinely move more forward. Did you feel it that time? And trot and go. Yeah, keep doing that. So every time he hits the trot, you send him straight back forward again. And go. Yes, good boy. Praise him. That's where we're at. Good. Right, does that feel different? Right, so that's the range of his step, and that's what we want to be seeing. You know, that he fully is coming forward with the engine moving from the back end. That's good. Are you okay? Do you need to breathe? Sorry. Right, but you know, like that's, you know, like I think what can happen, especially when he's your horse, and we're all guilty of doing it, and I'm including myself in that one as well. That, you know, they come in and they're a little bit, you know, don't really want to go, and we go, oh, well, all right then, and we end up settling a bit of a deal with them. Whereas if I got on him and he did that, I'd be like, just go forward. But on my own horse, I'd be like, it's all right, you know. We tend to let them off the hook a little bit, so make sure that you challenge him. I wouldn't mind having a sit on him one day, if you don't mind that. I just often think, you know, that it's good sometimes to feel if what you see is what you feel when you get on. I'm not really equipped today because I got landed in having to ride a stallion. I'd like to talk about the last minute. I was really cross because I've known the horse for years, and he's an old horse. He's not particularly easy to ride. Not for any fault of his own. He's just got loads of movement. And she got somebody lined up to ride him, but I've been riding him all week for her. And then at the last minute, she was like, oh, would you ride him? And I was like, well, I've got lessons and stuff now, so I have to try and shift him around. And I just ended up, so I've got all my competition gear on under here, because I've got to go up to Richmond and get on this bloody stallion for this stallion presentation. No, it's just a showcase, you know, stallions for the Sport Horse Breeding Society, you know, for, I think it's the Yorkshire Sport Horse Breeding, to be fair. He wouldn't be a stallion I'd use. But he's a colour stallion, so he's not really my kind of cup of tea, but he's more like breeds like showing horses and dressage horses. His movement is incredible, and who knows where it came from. Okay, just change your rein, because he's actually thoroughbred cross, I think it's Irish sport horse. But his movement is unbelievable, and he's 23 years old. And he hasn't lost any of it, and he does really pass it on. You know, like all these youngsters that I've worked with, they all move and they've all got fabulous temperaments. So if you wanted to breed a nice sort of dressage stroke showing horse, he's exactly what you probably use, because he puts bob on temperaments on them, and he's a lovely horse himself. Okay, right, let's pick him up again, and straight away I want you to do what you did there. Get the trot, ask him to accelerate. If he doesn't, take him to task with that canter like you did. Because I think this horse, like for me, he can do the movements. I think we don't need to like work so much on that, but we do need to work on getting him through, so he stops doing all these silly little hops up into transitions, because they'll absolutely nail him for it in the dressage. They won't like it, so you know, we need to make sure he's genuinely through. Yeah, straightforward, accelerate. Yeah, and if he does, he does, but then accelerate. You know, don't go, oh no, don't canter. Go, well, actually, I just wanted to go forward, so get going in whichever speed, whichever pace you choose to use. Yep, exactly, well done. So already, he's brought those steps more forward.